Hi, everyone. I'm so happy to be back. Thanks for checking out my second segment on the break here. I kind of want to just keep going on what I was sharing with you guys earlier in regards to my decision to take part in a clinical trial as part of my care. As I kind of spoke about before, um, I had surgery first. I had a major abdominal surgery, which was curative intent, and it was successful. My surgeons was Dr. Laura Williams. One of the CRC surgeons at the Ottawa Hospital was a godsend. She was absolutely incredible, as well as all the nurses on that floor when I spent a couple days there before getting sent home. But you know, pathology came back and lymph nodes were involved. So as I was saying before, my oncologist, Dr. Yonker, presented me with a few options, and that was watch and wait, standard of care, which was FOLFOX or CAPOX, and then it was a trial that he was running. And he explained it to me as they were trying to determine if a new combination of some of the kind of standard chemo drugs that they use in colorectal cancer and a little bit of a different combination had any more efficacy than just the standard of care FOLFOX regime. So as I was kind of mentioning, I was kind of stuck on this because, to be perfectly honest, I didn't really want all the extra appointments and questionnaires and attention, but it 100% was one of the best decisions of my life. And I just want to speak a little bit about kind of how I benefited from being in a trial, because there was a lot of really special things that happened over the course of my treatment. And I think people really, to be honest, really need to know that, because there was a lot of stuff that I learned about trials because I came into this with zero knowledge at all. And I think it's really important just to share with everybody that there are a lot of benefits with doing trials. And it doesn't only help you, it helps the cancer community, right? You never know what the trial is going to do or what actually is going to come out of it. So I think it's important, right, to try to help the folks that are trying to help you. So some of the things that really stood out to me that were, just really, really important as part of my experience is the supportive care was second to none. Because of that trial, I got to see my oncologist every 2 weeks. I had to see him in person before every chemo appointment. So that was every 2 weeks for 6 months. And we became really close. Like, we were able to build a really good rapport because of that. He got to know me, I got to know him, and we kind of were on a level of, we knew what makes each other tick and kind of how to approach each other and how to really collaborate and work together. And to me, that was pretty special because I know, talking to a lot of other folks that aren't in trials, sometimes you might see your oncologist maybe 2 or 3 times over the 6 months if everything kind of is going smooth. But I was in there, again, every 2 weeks. So that's amazing, and as things kind of went on, I actually liked the attention because it took a lot of the worry away. Because as, any patient listening could, kind of attest to, is you get hyper vigilant, you get hypersensitive. Every little thing, like, oh, what's that? Is the cancer back? Is this supposed to be happening? And just the fact that I was able to get in front of my team every 2 weeks in person during a pandemic was pretty incredible. Like, that was invaluable to me. And also, huge shout out to my trial coordinators. So I actually participate in 2 trials. There's one that came after those 6 months were done, and it's a trial that is trying to look at if exercise post chemotherapy helps reduce the rates of recurrence and minimize neuropathy and all types of different effects. And that's with my doctor, Derek Yonker, as well. And so I got 2 trial coordinators that I literally have a direct line to. So if I have any questions, I send off an email, send a text message, and it's almost like same day answers, right? And we all know that in the medical world right now, just with how short staffed everybody is and how stressed everyone is trying to keep things afloat, that's pretty awesome. I don't know many people that could say that. So that was definitely huge benefits. And all these people, they cared so much. And it wasn't just a show, right? These folks, every time I walked in there and saw them, they asked about my wife. They asked about my daughter now. And they remember, they know details. They asked me how my running's going and how my neuropathy is affecting that. And just so much. It's just so genuine. And it's hard not to be happy being in that position, right? When you're in kind of one of the worst positions somebody could be in facing a cancer diagnosis. Uh, so one of the really neat things actually too that uh, I think was really unique to being in the trial is I live about an hour away from Ottawa, and I had the option to do treatment at a satellite center closer to me, but that was not an option if I chose the trial because I had to do it at the general campus where they do all their research. So because of that, uh, the nurses, the coordinators, my doctor, everybody, they bent over backwards. Like they did everything possible to make this as smooth and as easy of an experience for me as possible. And they said that from day one. My oncologist full out told me that he wants this trial and this experience to have the least amount of an impact um, on my life and my family's life. So they would make sure all my appointments were in the same day, so I didn't have to drive into the city 3 times a week. They would write me recs so I could do blood work out here, and I had the choice of doing my CT scans out 10 minutes away from me as opposed to driving into Ottawa. So they really went above and beyond to really make sure that I was taken care of, and they made me they made me priority. Like they were basically like, hey, like you're giving us this time, you're helping us with our trial, and in return, like we're going to make sure that you get the best care and we take care of you and it impacts your life the least possible. And I mean, I really couldn't ask for anything better than that, right? So I think the one thing that I really learned about trials that I think a lot of people have a misconception too, which was really important to me at the beginning, was trials are definitely not a last ditch line of treatment or a last chance. Um, I, uh, I always thought that's what it was, but I was obviously educated, and now I know that that's not the case. Like there's tons and tons of trials and studies that happen for all different types of reasons, right? And that's the type of thing that allows um, research and the way doctors do things and the way the system operates to improve or change. And to me, it was a really unique opportunity to be able to give back and actually thank the people that were helping me and hopefully have the opportunity to, really help the cancer community, right? And just try to do my part in like a really, really big world. So I would recommend anybody if they have an opportunity to do trials. If you don't, ask your doctors, ask your oncologists, ask research, and try to see if there's anything that you could be a part of, because there are so many benefits, not just for you, but for your doctors, other cancer patients, and people that are going to come after you, right? So I really think it's something that, as patients going through this, is really important as well. So just as much as we need the doctors, they need us too. And they really do show you they care. You get some pretty amazing care that is above and beyond what your typical patient would get. So although it's kind of a scary thing, and I was scared, I questioned it, I went back and forth with my wife for about 2 days before we decided, and I almost didn't do it, as I mentioned earlier. So if I didn't do it, I mean, I have no doubt that I would still kind of be where I am today in regards to NED and my cancer journey, but it definitely would not have been the same. And I probably would have had a lot more stress, and it would not have been as of I hate to say pleasant, but there were aspects of it that were actually pleasant because, your team becomes almost like a family. And going through it during COVID, again, they stepped up huge, and the most caring, compassionate, loving folks there at the Ottawa Hospital Cancer Center that I could have ever asked for. And to be honest, I don't wish anybody ever has to be in the position that I was in. But if you do, just like I kind of found out, please know that trials are not scary. They are not last ditch efforts. They really do help advance the care that we get. And there are tons and tons of perks to them. So please take advantage, do your research, and if you have the chance to access them, I, uh, I, I can only highly, highly recommend that you take your doctors up on that. So I just kind of want to thank everybody for checking me out, for listening. And again, find those trials. They're completely worth it. And I promise you will not regret it. So thanks for checking in with me, and I'd like to thank Colorectal Cancer Canada again just for giving me the opportunity to speak to all you guys.